Hello BookTube, I'm Jonathan and welcome to Words in Time. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about Kurt Vonnegut, who is one of my favorite writers and someone that not only inspired me to read more, but also really sparked a love for sci-fi. Now, I've read nearly everything that Kurt Vonnegut has written, and for me, everything ranges from pretty good to all-time great. So you can't really go wrong, but I've decided to list the top 5. It's going to be tough to do. I'm excited to hear what your lists are. I'm sure they're all great lists because they're pretty much all great books, but I've narrowed it down to 5. Let's get into it. Starting at number 5, we have Play a Piano, which was actually Kurt Vonnegut's very first book. So what is it all about? Well, it is set in the near future after a Third World War, and it's set in a society where machines have replaced many workers. And we have a main character who is a factory manager, and he starts to become disillusioned with society and this process. So why do I like it so much? Well, there are a lot of books that could have taken this spot, but some of the reasons that I particularly like Play a Piano include the fact that it has a very singular vision. It really explores this concept of automation, and it asks, what does it mean to be human? What is your purpose? Especially when your job, something that you identify with, that you provide value with, has been taken away from you. And this book also did a really good job of predicting the future. If you were to replace the vacuum tubes that Vonnegut writes about with microchips, then you'd have something pretty similar to the robots and artificial intelligence that we have today. So, considering this book was written in 1952, it showed a lot of foresight. So, who would I recommend this book to? Well, this book is a little bit more linear. It's perhaps a little bit less out there than some of other Vonnegut's books. So, if that's something that you prefer, then this could be a good place to start. If you want to delve into one concept, spend some time there, as opposed to getting all over the place, that's something that Play a Piano offers as well. And also, it is kind of nice to start at the beginning of his career and see how he progresses over time. So, there you go, there's my number 5, Play a Piano. Next, at number 4, we have Mother Night. So, the premise for Mother Night is that we have a character that is writing their memoirs, and they are on trials for war crimes as a propagandist during World War II. And this character claims that he was a double agent working for the Americans. So why did I enjoy Mother Night? Well, in the preface, Kurt Vonnegut states, "We are who we pretend to be, so we should be careful who we pretend to be." So while reading this, I was trying to figure out, is this character telling the truth? And even if he is, does that exonerate him from his actions? There's a real exploration of morality here, and it's a very tightly written book. I think there's a very clear objective here, and I think Vonnegut achieved that exceedingly well. Now, who would I recommend this to? Well, if you have an interest in World War II history, this could be for you. This is not as sci-fi as some of his other books, so if you're less interested in sci-fi elements, again, this could be for you. And if you really want to delve into people's motivations and morality, I would definitely recommend Mother Night at number 4. Coming in at number 3 is Sirens of Titan. Now, there's a lot going on in Sirens of Titan, but some of the characters we have are the richest man in the country, a man and his dog that materialize in different places on different planets, and a robot that has been built by aliens. And the story jumps around, covers from Earth to Mars to Mercury to Titan, one of Saturn's moons. So, why did I like Sirens of Titan? Well, it explores so much, including free will, omniscience, purpose, both as an individual and what is the purpose of humans as a race. And there's so many ideas here. There's a lot going on, perhaps almost too much going on for Kurt Vonnegut to try and bring it all together within one book, but he takes a lot of big swings at a lot of big ideas, and I really, really enjoyed the book because of that. So, who would I recommend this to? If you are a sci-fi fan, this is definitely one of Kurt Vonnegut's most sci-fi books. If you don't mind bouncing around from place to place, idea to idea, if you want to cram a lot in there, you're going to enjoy this. And I don't know if this is super positive or optimistic, but I would say this is one of his less dark or depressing books. I think there's some light there, there's some fun. So if that tone sort of suits you as well, I would definitely recommend Sirens of Titan, my third favorite Kurt Vonnegut book. All right, we're down to the final two, and I bounce back and forth between these two, but today I've decided to go with number 2, Slaughterhouse-Five. So what is Slaughterhouse-Five all about? Well, we follow a character that closely resembles Kurt Vonnegut himself and his real life until he becomes unstuck in time. And we bounce back and forth timelines, which follows his life both as a civilian and his time as a soldier during World War II. He also gets abducted by aliens. So this is a non-linear story, very interesting structure, and there's a lot to like about it. Some of the things that I enjoyed was how it tackles these really big themes like the nature of war, the concept of death, and mental illness and PTSD. And Kurt Vonnegut analyzes these from different philosophical perspectives, and despite the fact that it is heavy stuff, it's very dark, it's also uniquely funny. The way he goes about it, despite it being quite tough to read, it can bring you down. There's just these moments of brilliance, these moments of dark humor that just keep you going in an otherwise tough world. So, who would I recommend Slaughterhouse-Five to? Well, if you like a blending of genres, if you enjoy non-linear storytelling, unique structures, this could definitely be for you. And if you don't mind heavy or dark concepts, there's a lot to sink your teeth into here. This is a book that I think would benefit from multiple reads. I think the way you could interpret it would change over time. There's a real depth here, and I think this is a real artistic achievement. My second favorite Kurt Vonnegut book, Slaughterhouse-Five. So that just leaves us with number 1, my personal favorite Kurt Vonnegut book, Cat's Cradle. So, Cat's Cradle, we follow a narrator who travels to interview the children of the co-creator of the atomic bomb, and he learns about a substance named Ice-9, which freezes any water that it comes into contact with. And he also travels to a fictional island in the Caribbean and learns about this somewhat irreverent religion known as Bokononism. And each of these different elements kind of come together in a somewhat absurd but poignant way. So why do I love Cat's Cradle so much? Why is it my number 1? Well, for starters, I think it's the funniest Kurt Vonnegut book. There are so many lines, so many moments which I keep coming back to that are laugh out loud moments for me, and it's a very quotable book, whether they're funny, powerful, poignant. There's just an endless list of quotes that you can pull from Cat's Cradle, in my opinion. And the themes that it tackles, death, free will, technology, I just connected with them so much. This book landed so hard for me, and I think the way that it explores these things in a kind of absurd but funny way is sometimes the only way that you can tackle concepts this heavy. So, who would I recommend it to? Well, if you like comedy blended with your sci-fi, I definitely think you'll enjoy Cat's Cradle. If you're looking for something that maybe tries to make sense out of a seemingly nonsensical world, perhaps Cat's Cradle can do that for you. And, well, I think as of right now, personally, I've adopted, I think, a slightly more optimistic worldview than perhaps Kurt Vonnegut had. I think there's so much that I can take from this book that just makes the world that little bit better. I think my life has been improved by Kurt Vonnegut, so hopefully if you have read any of his works, he's done that for you, or if you haven't, one of these sounds interesting and you decide to pick it up, and he provides that for you too. So there you go, guys. What are your top 5? If you've read 5 or more Kurt Vonnegut books, let me know what are your favorites. And if you haven't, let me know if I made any of these sound interesting and which one of these are you going to pick up. You can't go wrong. Kurt Vonnegut's great. I appreciate you watching, and come back for more ranks and sci-fi book reviews coming soon.